I'm Adam's Down Boy, and welcome to my video walkthrough of the Extraction Lost Sector on Savathûn's Throne World. So the Lost Sector is in Quagmire, in the place that you would spawn into normally. You can see the champions, the burn and the shields there, but we'll look at those in a bit more detail when we get to the marker. But to take you through my setup here, I'm running this on a Solar Titan. The super doesn't really matter. I'm using Burning Mold, but I don't really use my super much, I must admit, looking back. I am using Towering Barricade because there's damage I want to prevent coming in from specific directions at moments during the Lost Sector. The lift, the jump, that doesn't really matter. Throwing hammer is always handy because it'll trigger regeneration, and the grenade is personal choice. Sol Invictus, pretty much a must-have. Sunspots healing you, starting restoration are really handy. Roaring Flames don't really use, but it's better. I've got to have something in that slot, and then I'm using Ember of Eruption, Ember of Char. I'm using things that make my ignitions and char and scorch better. I'm using Ember of Solace because I want to have restoration for as long as possible. That extends the effects of restoration and radiance, and Ember of Torches occasionally gives you a bit of extra damage, and who doesn't love that? So I'm using Osteo Striga. This is for the Overload champions, very good for Overload champions because the tick damage will continue stunning even while you're reloading your magazine. I am using Pointed Enquiry. Unfortunately, there is no Arc Scout Rifle this season that has Adaptive Munitions, otherwise I would be using that. I'm using this because there are some void shielded enemies in the first room that you get to, so it's still quite handy, and it's still quite handy for forcing the shields of the Arc Knights. Because it's an Arc Burn Hothead, mine one has Clown Cartridge and Field Prep and alloy casing, so it's quite good for either burst or sustained boss damage. But I guess any arc rocket launcher will do. Lawley Splendor Helm, this gives you classy restoration for free, so that's the reason I've got this. I actually realised going through this now that I've made this a bit more difficult for myself. I had Elemental Ordnance on. I was intending to gather wells in order to use Well of Life, but then I forgot to equip Well of Life. So I have Elemental Time Dilation. If I had Well of Life, this would be really useful because it would extend that. I also have the anti-champion mods for the weapons I've got equipped as well. I am focused into resilience, 100 for resilience, absolutely essential for the 40% damage reduction, and then split your stats between whatever you like. I am using, and again this is where I've made it more difficult for myself, I am using the resist mods, but I'm using Font of Might, which has absolutely no effect here because I have no solar weapon, so that probably would have been better to use Seeking Wells there. Scavengers, so I've got the Finds as Scavengers. Again, Melee Well Maker, really good with the Bonk Hammer, so that will generate wells every time you get a kill with the Bonk Hammer. This is where I should have had Well of Life. I am using Revitalizing Blast and Solar Fulmination. Because I'm wearing the Lawley Splendor Helm, I don't need Classy Restoration because that's what that gives me. So I can go all out for using the champions in here as bombs against their allies. Again, very, very handy for being able to clear out adds near the champions when you stun them. So we'll spawn in. This, I think, was my second attempt. I had run it through quite a few times in order to work out where the spawns happen. Particularly, there were 3 plates in here, and what happens when you stand on the plates, where everything comes from. As ever, if you've not run this through many times, I would always recommend running through the Legend version first. That gives you kind of a gentler introduction, but still gives you a pretty good idea of what you're going to need to do for Legend. And then what you need to do for Master. But it's fairly simple to get to. I would imagine if you spent any time at all in Savathûn's Throne World, you will have come across this lost sector. It's on the kind of the far side from where you spawn in. You'll see a little marker just here which shows you that the lost sector is nearby. You don't really need to spawn in the platforms. You can just jump down. Fortunately here it's safe, you're not going to get shot at, so we'll just go through the master modifiers. So you get the usual ones, and then we've got the overload and unstoppable, just to confirm those. You have radar shields, so they will have void shields. That's the reason for taking the void scout rifle. Arc burn, so 50% arc damage going out and coming in. No radar, and just tells you've got arc and void shielded foes. So the arc shielded enemies are the knights in the second room. So there were 3 rooms here. Your initial room, kind of a big middle room, and then the boss room. So initially, when you spawn in, you have a little bit of a walk, and then this first room, there's only 1 champion in the first room. So I'm going to set up in the doorway here and just clear as many of the ads as possible. There's a couple of rounds of spawns as you kill things off, but I'm basically trying and funnel things coming to me so I can just get them with Osteo Striga, which of course, when it bursts, will catch things in a kind of a poison cloud around it. This is where they jump up to, who I was just pointing to, so you can just keep your weapons pointed in that direction. They will jump up there, and you should be able to get them with the Osteo Striga. You will probably, after a little while, the snipers will jump up there as well. You can see the sniper just down there to my left. I was lucky here, they both jump up at the same time, so I could basically kill them both for the price of one once that I'd burst the shield. So now it's all, I think this is all, for this spawn at least, I was going to say unshielded, but there's one more sniper. That's another useful thing. If you get more Osteo Striga, obviously they will be taking poison tick damage over time. If you burst the shield, then the tick damage is going on all the time, even if it doesn't really seem apparent from the shield going down. So again, sticking by the doorway, I will peek out a little bit. There's the champion there, but I was going to try and pick off a few range. It's probably a little bit too far for your Osteo Striga, that is. So quite useful having a medium long range weapon as well. Again, the second room is quite big, so having something that can do damage at a distance is useful. So still trying to pick off the ads here before I get round to, before I start focusing too much on the champion. The other thing I do with the Lawley Splendor Helm, if I get a sunspot and it's really reasonably safe, I will sit in it in order to recharge my barricade. I want to be able to have effectively that classy restoration whenever I need it, whenever I lose my shield. So I will stand in there and let it regenerate. As you see, that's not a safe place to stand in the sunspot, so I will just have to let my shield regenerate, my barricade rather, regenerate naturally here. So I'm looking for the champion. There we go, stunned him, and then that takes out a couple of other ads. There's also there, you can see there's a couple more shielded. But obviously my scorches forced even the void shield on match game, so that was 2 stuns in pretty close succession on that overload champion, and that took out those void shielded snipers. So here, just I was going to, if I needed to, I had my rocket launcher ready, but again the tick damage takes it, and I have a lot of power armor in here, which is very nice to see. So, ooh, shiny. Right, into the next room. Now again, I'm going to initially set up by the door and deal with everything from a distance. So I'm going to try and clear all of the ads from this initial spawn here before I go and stand on any of the 3 plates. There are 3 plates in the room. and there is a door. Basically what they do is unlock a central door which then gives you access to the boss room. So there's no way of bypassing this. You have to go through and stand on all of the 3 plates and capture the plates, which can be a little tricky on your own. With this, I'm paying no attention at all to the timer because I'm wanting to do this flawlessly. The time really is irrelevant because you don't want to die anyway, so whether you've got revives or not is not really something that I care about. I thought that was going to be a champion, but it's not. It's just a normal yellow bar, and it seems pretty static, so there we go. Again, I'm going to pick off they're a bit far away, so I'm going to pick off the ads. And you can see none of them really hit you easily from the doorway. Even the boomer knights there, the way that the way the ceiling is, find it difficult to hit you if you're right in the door. And sometimes again that will also stop grenades getting to you. Not always. If they're closer and down there in that kind of depression just in front of you where the water is, they will hit you with grenades. But if they're standing on the platform back there or by the platform, much more difficult for them. So I'm having a quick look. I think I've cleared most of the ads here, but I'm going to be careful just because I've got no radar. I can't be certain of that. I think there might be one knight that's got away, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. The knight actually can provide a useful distraction for the Scorn when they spawn in when you stand on a plate. Now I would say you need to stand on the plate, each plate only once. Each time you get off and then get back on again, you will spawn a new round of enemies. So you if you step on, clear the first wave of enemies that spawn in, or don't clear the spawn of enemies that come in, step off in order to try and clear them, step on again, you'll spawn an entirely new round of Scorn here. Now you can see they're running off. I think there's an Arc Knight left on my right, and they initially go running off thinking, oh, there's an enemy over there. I'm not deliberately not aggroing them, and then I'm using this shield to allow me to capture the plate completely before I then, in my inimitable way, head back to the entrance to the room, set up camp there and kill everything. So each time you step on a plate, or the first time you step on a plate, you will spawn a champion. They don't spawn again, so if you do step off and then step on, you won't respawn the champion. I suppose that's a bit of a blessing. So because they're a bit closer, they are a little bit more accurate with those grenades. I can see that's where the Overload champion is. So yeah, if I can stun him. In fact, I found out, as you'll see here, that's not the way to do it. Just keep Osteo Striga on. Don't worry about using heavy on these the Overload champions. It's much more effective to get Osteo Striga and keep the Osteo Striga going, because the tick damage is much more effective at stopping the overloads from healing again. So just keep the Osteo Striga on them. So I think that's all of the ads from that first right side plate. Going back in to grab some ammo, knowing I've got lots of it in here. Now I've captured that first plate. I'm still not 100% sure that I've got everything, so I'm going to take it slowly. I'm not going to rush out in case I find stuff behind me. I don't like being flanked like that. So I'm going to take a little look through on the other side, see if there are any enemies here. I can see, yep, there's one Arc Knight that I can see there. There's actually a second one which is around the corner, which I didn't look around. I kind of just assumed there was just going to be the one. So I am going to Take that other one down as well. Don't want those around while I am trying to capture that plate. I'll just check. I don't think there's any more ads, but worth having another quick look. Then I'm going to capture the far plate rather than that central plate. It's same basis as that first plate. What I can do is I can kind of stand in one corner and make myself as small as possible and try not to attract attention from the ads that spawn in, to try and give myself as much time on the plate without being fired on as possible. They will eventually notice me because there's nothing else for them to find in here. So at that point, yeah, I'm putting up my barricade, going to try and capture the plate. Yes. Fortunately, with the barricade, I'm also getting a sunspot there, which every time I walk into will give me restoration. So I am now going to try and take down the overload champion. You can see how useful the Osteo Striga tick damage is, because even when I'm not firing at a few seconds, I'm distracted by other ads. It's still taking the overload champion, it's still killing them. So there we go. Again, Lawley Splendor Helm triggered there, so I'm going to take advantage of the sunspot to regenerate my barricade once more. And just checking again that there are no ads left before I stand on the last plate. Now, the last plate is going to be the most difficult because ads will spawn on both sides, so it's quite easy to get flanked. So I'm going to step on, put a barrier up immediately, because there's no way of avoiding the ads here, or the ads' attention. They converge on you from both sides. So I've got that, and then I didn't realise that obviously the champion was going to rush me, but fortunately he acts as a kind of a bomb against his own allies here, because I can keep stunning him. I already have the sunspot, which is helping regenerate me. I'm generating a second sunspot from that bonk hammer kill. Really, if I was thinking straight there, I should have stepped off the sunspot and then stepped back into it again. So I did push my luck a little bit here, but you can see now the door is open and I can make it to the boss room. So initially here there's 3 acolytes in this hallway. Osteo Striga should do its work and should poison all of them. So just ahead to the right is the boss room. The boss is one of the Lucent brood. It's a wizard, so it does arc damage, so that hurts, and 2 unstoppable ogres. They're not ogres. Oh no, they are ogres. Yep, sorry. 2 unstoppable ogres. One of which will immediately push if you... It's quite aggressive, so will come and chase you. You can get rid of that straight away. The other one will take up residence on, looking into the room here on the right hand side. There are 2 platforms left and right, which is where the ads will tend to congregate. You can see there, and they will then do, every now and again they will run between them. I think there are various spawns, and I think they're possibly triggered by damage to the boss. So I've got this 2 minutes, but as I said earlier, I'm paying no heed whatsoever to the timer in here. So again, I am trying to... There we go. I'm trying to clear ads there. You can see that there's some ads up there that were taking damage from the combination of Solar Fulmination and Revitalizing Blast. But because I don't have a very good view here, and it's a bit of a way for the Osteo Striga shots to go. This is where Scout Rifle comes in handy. There's also a few annoying bits of decoration on the pillars here that stopped me from getting a straight shot about head height from on the ads, on the acolytes. So you can see the acolytes have taken a fair bit of damage now from the blast on the unstoppable. Now these wizards, obviously they do damage, arc damage. You can see the grenade there. If I hadn't had my Lawley Splendor helm, that probably would have been it for this run. So you can see, I think that was a new round of ads that had just spawned in. But anyway, I'm now going to try and take the boss down. I'll wait until the super's over. As ever with the super, they've basically got 3 lots of attacks. Any of the Lucent Brood have 3 attacks and the super ends. But annoyingly, the wizard here can put down a healing rift for themselves, so can over time regenerate their health. So it's best not to leave them alone for too long. You can see there, I think that's regenerated a fair bit of health back from where I hit it with the rocket launcher shot earlier. Again, probably stayed in line of sight there a little bit too long. I'm going to try and regenerate my barricade standing there. But I think there's probably few enough ads in the boss room here now for me to be looking to try and finish the boss. You can see he's trying to heal itself again there. The healing isn't too fast, but it is still quite annoying when you find yourself up against something that has healed itself completely. Right, so there we go. Go over, get the boss. We'll get the boss's ghost. And now, I don't think there are too many ads, but I'm just going to make my way back to the entrance again. I'm not going to go back and stand in that sunspot. And then they will be following me, their thrall that have spawned, part of that subsequent wave of ads that spawn. And I think I'm in a pretty good position here now to finish everything off. It's only these and one more acolyte up to the left here, and then I am done. So best advice here is to take it slowly, pick off as much as you can from long range, step onto each plate only once and don't aggro when you do step on the plates, trying to get as much time on the plates as possible without anything firing at you. But once you do get your barricade up or put your rift down, or just be ready to dodge, you just want to make sure that you're able to capture that plate in one. I don't think this is particularly farmable because there's no way of shortcutting that first the mechanic of unlocking the doors by standing on the 3 plates. So this has been quite I suppose a long one. There you go, nearly 20 minutes. Ran out 2 minutes over time, so 2 minutes into the darkness. But even so, as I say, this was my second run through. It is valuable to go through on the Legend version just to kind of get the pacing of it and to work out where everything is going to be coming at you from. But otherwise, you can keep your distance from everything apart from on that plate in the middle plate in the second room. But otherwise, this is just a case of staying patient, playing it conservatively, and you should make it through. It's fairly straightforward otherwise. So I hope that's been useful. Thank you for watching the video, and may all your drops be god rolls.